Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, fountain pen showdown. And I thought we'd take a look at two pens that to my eye look very similar, although in terms of size, one smaller than the other. So we've got here a Delike New Moon 2. And that's going to go up against a Sailor ProGear Slim. Now, looking at these, I actually think the Delike is heavily inspired by the Sailor ProGear, but I don't have a Sailor ProGear, which is why we're going to compare it with the ProGear Slim. Let's start by taking a walk through the bodies. So here, I'm not going to do a detailed walkthrough of both the bodies. It's just going to be a quick look, mainly looking at the differences. So as I've said already, size is the big difference. Let me just pop them next to each other there. So we've got about a centimetre difference in terms of the length, and the ProGear Slim is definitely thinner than what we're seeing here with the Delike. The clips, very, very similar. So we come in and then we go straight all the way down with a curving bottom. There's a little bit of a line engraved there, and we've seen very similar, so very, very similar lines. So I would say very close to each other. The tops of the pens. So with the Delike, it's flat, but just in the resin colour. With the Sailor, again, it's got the resin colour, it's flat, and there's that little embedded Sailor logo there. The caps themselves, very similar in terms of the length. The ProGear Slim looks ever so slightly shorter. Again, it's the width. The Delike a lot wider. If we look at the bottom of the pen, so we've got the Delike here. So we've got their Delike and New Moon. And this is all metal coloured, and it's then tapering down to the body. So slight difference here on the Sailor. We've got 1911, Sailor, Japan. And this is a small band, a little bit of the resin, a thick band, and then in the resin we've got a taper down to the body. Looking at the bodies, so again, width and length, that's a big thing. So we're coming down, about 3/4 of the way down, we start to taper in. Same thing I see here on the Sailor. Silver coloured band against that gold coloured band. And then the ends, again, very similar, just in terms of width, and both flat on the bottom. Let's take the caps off these. So with the Delike, half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, about 3.5 turns. A lot of turns to come off there. And with the Sailor, half, 1, 1.5, about 1 3/4 turns to take that Sailor off. Both pens are cartridge converters, so let's take a look at these. So there's the Delike, and then here's the same look, but with the Sailor. There's the cartridges. Even the sections, very similar shape, just the width and the size which is different. Just pop these back together. I like the material of this Sailor. This is called Blue Green Nebula, and hopefully you can see there, it'll catch on the light. So we've got this translucent material, then it catches, and we've got then like silver sparkles which are there to remind you of stars. With the Delike, this is a dark rose pattern. Again, quite pretty, quite different. I do struggle to get matching inks with this, I will be honest, whereas with the Sailor, I've got a load of inks. To be honest, any tealy type ink goes well with the Sailor. Let's swap on over and we'll do some size comparisons. My first size comparison is my standard, so we've got a Pilot Metropolitan and a Lamy Safari. Both of my pens that we're looking at today are smaller than the Metropolitan. In terms of width, the Delike, I would say at its widest point, is very similar to the Metropolitan. Both of them, though, definitely shorter and narrower than what we're seeing with the Safari. Let's pop the caps off. Here we are with the caps off. We're still seeing The Metropolitan is that little bit longer than both the others, maybe by only 2 or 3 millimeters between that and the Delike, but still it's larger. Sections, we can see a big difference in the sections, whereas the Delike and the Sailor look very similar. Nibs, now this is where we start to see a difference. So the nib on the Metropolitan, that's a number 5 pilot nib, is roughly the same size as both the nibs on the other two. And then we've got the Safari nib there. But if we look at the Delike nib, this is a steel nib. So this is made by Delike, it's labelled there. And it's super quality because it tells us on the nib. Always nice to know that something's super quality, isn't it? If we look at the Sailor though, 14 karat gold nib. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know I love the feel of this nib. I love the way it writes. So on here, we've got a decorative border. We've got 1911. We've got the Sailor logo, 14K. And then on the side, we've got HB. This is a hard broad nib. Absolutely love writing with this. Do the pens post? Let's look at the Delike. So unposted, it's a nice fit in the hand, really is. It's pleasurable to use unposted, and that's how I use this. It will post. Posts, yeah, not too bad. Does feel a bit long to me, though. I'm going to take that off. And then with the Sailor, unposted, I get away with it maybe for a couple of sentences, but it does feel too short. Posted, this is beautiful. This is really nice. Still a little bit on the thin side. We'll do some measurements in a minute. But posted, this is how I prefer to write with this pen. It's really nice. So I'm going to leave that posted because that's how I write with it. And then pop that back with the others. Again, with these others, I use them all unposted. Let's swap on over and look at some pens in roughly the same price range. So here we go. Again, have left these as I would normally use them when I'm writing. So I've got a Kaigaloo 222. That was 17 Aussie dollars. The Delike New Moon 2, that's 18 Aussie dollars. The Sailor ProGear Slim, when I got this, was 224 Aussie dollars. And then the Leonardo Ferrari, 230 Aussie dollars. The Ferrari, I love the width of this, and I love the way that the section's shaped on that. The Ferrari number 6 size nib, we've got that Sailor nib, and then we've got these two little nibs here on the two Chinese pens. Just pop the caps on. With the caps on, very similar story to what we saw with the standards. Both of today's pens are shorter than the comparisons. Let's swap on over and we'll do some weights and measures. Here we've got the rule of measuring. We'll start with the Delike. So with the cap on, this comes in at 13.3 centimetres. Unposted, that's 12.5. Posted is 15.5. The width of the body at its widest point here is 1.3 centimetres. The width of the cap, again looking for the widest point, 1.5 centimetres. And then the section, it goes from 1 centimetre up to 1.1. So not a lot of variation in that. Let's fetch in the Sailor. So the full pen. Here we've got 12.4. Quite a noticeable difference in length. Unposted is 11, and posted, that comes in at 14.3. Body width at the widest point here, 1.2 centimetres. The cap, 1.5 centimetres. Then the section goes from 0.9 up to 1.1. So there's a definite variation there, and you can feel that when you're using it. Let's swap on over and fetch in the scales of weighing. Here's the scales of weighing. We'll start with the Delike again. So the full pen, 21 grams. The cap, 6 grams. And the body, 14 grams. Remember, there is some ink in here. With the Sailor, full pen, 20 grams. Cap, 7 grams. And body, 12 grams. Again, there is some ink in here. So both fairly light feeling pens. Let's swap on over and fetch in the notepad of testing. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got the notepad of testing. This is Oxford Optic paper. Very nice fountain pen friendly paper, 90 GSM. And we'll start with the Delike. So we've got here a Delike. I think these issues here are because I've had the cap on and off. Delike, New Moon 2. Normally I don't have those issues. This has got a fine nib. The cost for this pen was 18 Aussie dollars. The ink, this is Lamy, Crystal, Beryl. It's nice ink, not exactly a match, but it's close enough for this pen. Drying times, so we go immediate, if I can get it to right. I think we may be getting low on ink. Let me just check this. Yeah, we are getting low on ink. So that doesn't help, does it, when you're trying to review a pen? So let's try them drying times again. So we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Nearly dry there. 1 minute. As we expect, that's dry a minute. Line variation. Let's see if we get any ink coming out this time. So we've got no pressure, with pressure, none, with, none, with, none, and with. Going to move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen write. Let's try that again. I've just primed the feed now. And it's not going to play with me. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of this ink left, so I can't even try and finish this off. Let me just see if I can get a little bit. No, I do have this on some Tomoe River, so I can show you a better writing sample there. That's a shame about that. I thought there was more ink in there than there actually was. That's a New Moon 2. So let's see if the next one works. So we're going now with the Sailor. So here we are with the Sailor ProGear Slim. So we've got here a Sailor ProGear Slim. Thankfully this one works. It's got that broad nib. In terms of price, when I bought this it was 224 Aussie dollars. I believe it's more than that now. The ink is by Diamine and it's Aurora Borealis. I try and use this ink in this pen purely because this is a blue-green nebula, Aurora Borealis, both astronomical things. Line variation, no, drying times. There's immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. After a minute, that's nice and dry. Line variation. So no pressure, Remember, this is a broad, and I've got to be honest, the no pressure line seems very similar to what I get from that fine New Moon 2, but I do find the New Moon 2 is a very generous nib. So there's no pressure there. Here's some pressure. So again, slightly wider line, not a flex nib, not designed to do this anyway. So none, with, none, with, none, and with. I'm going to move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen writing. Finally, flow. As I've said, I don't know if it came over on the mic, the feedback on this, it's one of the nicest nibs I've got. I love writing with this pen. It's so nice. It's comfortable. Yes, I know it's a bit on the thin side. I would like to maybe get a ProGear Slim at some time. It's just a lot of money to see what that's like. You know, that little bit extra width would make a big difference. And that's what I like about the New Moon 2, you know, that extra width. So what are my thoughts on these pens? So the New Moon 2 embarrassed me, didn't it? You know, stopped writing part way through. As I said, I do have a better writing sample. So this is on 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. So I've got here Delike. I've put in brackets New Moon. If you go and look on AliExpress for this, they're now called a Mahjong or Moonman pen rather than Delike. You know, I've said here it's a generous nib for a fine. Very smooth. It's nice to write with. There's a small amount of feedback, and to me that makes it really nice. Actually quite close to the way that the Sailor feels. Calling out, even this Delike feels a bit thin, but the length is nice. It's comfy enough to use. You know, a little bit extra girth there in the section would have been quite nice. And I said here, down to the last of the sink. Not really a good match. Again, I'm calling that out. I think this is too bright. What I need is a dustier colour. I do have one. So next time that I ink this pen up, I may try it with a dustier colour. Let's move that Tomoe River paper out of the way. And then the Sailor ProGear Slim. Smaller pen, has to be used posted. Don't matter really because the cap isn't too heavy, so it doesn't make it feel back heavy. It's really nice, it's pleasurable. Perfect pen to use when it's like this. Again, same issue, could do with being a little bit wider, but it's livable, it's really nice. It's the nib on this. The nib, I just love writing with it. I love the way the nib feels on the paper. I love the feedback, both audible feedback and tactile feedback. Extremely nice. You know, when you're looking at the price difference as well, you know, we're talking about an $18 pen here from China, or this Sailor $224 from Japan. Both of them really good value. But these are my thoughts on the Delike New Moon 2 and the Sailor ProGear Slim. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on these pens? Don't you just wish a pen would work when you want it to? That's one of the worst things about doing these videos. Please drop any comments down below. Have you got one of these pens? Have you got a ProGear that you can compare with the Delike? That's something I'd be interested in to see what people think about, you know, the full-size ProGear rather than the slim version. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.